for you. Tonight is rapid fire, so if you have questions, feel free to ask. And give me just a minute here. There we are. Okay, so tonight is rapid fire. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. We love that all of you are here, so thank you very much for showing up. I really appreciate it. But tonight I'll only be reading the questions and answering those. So we're happy that everybody's here, so welcome. But tonight is questions only. If you do have questions, please put a couple question marks or explanation points at the beginning or end or both of your question. It's a little bit easier for me to read, and we will get you taken care of and try to help you on your journey with Koeternix quail. Yesterday I had some really big announcements, so if you did not watch our live last night at 7 p.m. it is loaded, and the first 16 minutes is a ton of information that I think a lot of people would be interested in, so make sure you check that out, but I won't bore you with that tonight. And let's get into the questions. And again, if you have any, we're here to try to help you on your journey, and feel free to ask. Crystal is in the house, says hi from Michigan. Had my feather sexable eggs in nurture right. Just finished hatching 19 out of 25 happy chicks last night. Wonderful. I will write that down. 19 out of 25. That's great. Congratulations, feather sexable. I said 25 Egyptian Phi eggs in Pro Series Farm Innovator 1.5 days later. 3 pipped early yesterday, 3 hatched today, but only 1 more pip now I can see. And I'm pretty sure it's one that pipped yesterday. Govey range is 98. Wrapped in towel, humidity. Any suggestions? Let's see. You just finished day and a half later. Crap. Crystal Curtis, if you're still on, if you can let me know exactly what day you're on. Lockdown was 3/14. Oh, okay. Never mind. Never mind. You already answered. Lockdown was 3/14, which is today. Lockdown was today. Confirm that, Crystal, before I give you advice. I don't want to give you the wrong advice. It says that lockdown was today, and you've already had 3 hatch. So you wouldn't want to change anything, but I don't necessarily know if that 3/14 is correct. So update that for me, and then we'll take a look and decide what we want to do. Again, everybody that's here, welcome. I'm only reading questions tonight, but I'm glad you're all here. I see a lot of people here and a lot of people in different places, Texas, Toronto, Ohio, which is really cool. So welcome everybody. And hopefully you can start joining us on Sundays at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We go live and it's a community setting. I read all the comments. We all hang out and have a good time. So hopefully you can join us there as well. Kaylee's Quail Farm says, looking forward to tonight. We have already had 26 out of 59 jumbo white eggs hatch. That is wonderful. Congratulations. You are well on your way to get a really good hatch. So congratulations and best of luck to you. That's awesome. And keep me posted. Today is day 18. The first one hatched last night. Kaylee's Quail Farm, can you increase your temp by 0.5 degree? And that should help you a little bit. Leave them in there because they're hatching a little late. Leave them in there 19, 20, 21, 22. Leave them in there for another 4 or 5 days, but increase that temp 0.5 degree, and that should get them to start hatching a little bit sooner for you. But congratulations so far. You're doing great. Hello, I moved 14 this afternoon. I'm going to wait until tomorrow to move anymore. Sure, absolutely. Again, if you have any questions, if you can put some question marks or exclamation points, I'd greatly appreciate it. Quail is hatching. It sounds like a lot of people are in lockdown this week. That's wonderful. Good luck, everybody. D'Andresso says hello from Texas. Had 159 from 220. That's pretty good. 220. Yeah, that's great. Congratulations. I had to do the math in my head and it took a while, but that's awesome. Congratulations. 159 out of 220, and it was the mix. Congratulations, Dan. That's awesome. La Rochelle Farm says, Zach, I'm stressed, so I cracked open a beer to enjoy your live. Which color feather sexable is the highest producing birds? You're not going to like my answer. Well, I'll answer what you actually asked, and then I'll tell you what I think you should know. I would do a lot of golds, autumn ambers. Pansy fees are actually really productive, and fab fees are very productive. But I would go with non-feather sexable. I know it's kind of annoying, but those Rosettas, Tibetans, and Scarlets, wow, do they lay amazing. And I think that's kind of what you're looking for. The golds are in that same category. The rest of them are a little bit less. But the Rosettas, Tibetans, and Scarlets, I mean, they are laying machines. So if you're looking for just egg production, if you really want feather sexable, the golds would be the way to go. But if you're willing to not have feather sexable, Rosettas for sure, and Scarlet and Tibetans are right there as well, if you want my extra 2 cents. Let's see. Deidre says, my jumbo white wings still hatching. We'll let you know hatch rate when done. Absolutely, please do. And a lot of you are hatching out this week. That is wonderful. And it sounds like a lot of you are doing pretty well. So congratulations on that. Again, welcome everybody. We're glad you're all here tonight. I'm only reading the questions. If you have any, do a couple exclamation points or question marks at the beginning or end to help me see a little bit better. But please ask your questions. But everybody else that's here that's not asking right now, we are very happy that you're here and welcome. If you could support the channel by just hitting the like button, I would greatly appreciate it. It helps. It makes me feel like I'm doing something important. It helps with YouTube, I think, but I don't know if I believe that. Taylor says, hi from Pennsylvania. I've had quail about 2 years, and they seem to not be growing as fast. Would you say just from inbreeding too long? What quail are your best layers? Well, we kind of touched on that. They don't seem to be growing as fast. I don't know exactly what you mean by that. If they are 2 years old, then they will start slacking tremendously. Your fertility will drop. So if you've been breeding them and putting the new ones into the cage, it really depends on what you got. But to answer your question, the best layers are Rosettas, Tibetans, and Scarlets and Golds. Those are in the top 4 for sure. Everything's good, but those are above average, above good in that category. I don't know what you mean by growing as fast. You mean like as, I need you to reword it so I can try to help you, because I don't really, I could take that in a couple different ways and I don't want to give you the wrong answer. But if you can clarify that, I'd be happy to help. Chris says, sorry, way too much activity in the house. Lockdown 312. Okay, so lockdown was 312. So you're on day 18. You've got a temperature issue for sure. You've only had three more pip. Let's keep the humidity where it's at. Let's increase your temp by a full degree. I know that it's saying it might be reading 100.5. But I don't think that's accurate, and I think that you've got some circulation issues in there. So let's increase your temp by 1 full degree, and let's give it 72 hours. let's give it 72, but I mean, you're going to have to judge it. So it takes about 12 to 24 hours to start taking effect after you change the temp, which I highly recommend you do. Once that happens in 48 hours, if you're still not getting very good results, then let it go 72 and just be done with it, and let me know how it went. But after the 48 hours, if they're starting to pop like popcorn, then you're going to want to keep them in a little bit longer. If that makes sense. So hopefully that makes sense. If you have any other questions, let me know. Texas Caternix Quail connections in the house. So when chicks are put in the brooder, how long do you keep the light on? 24 hours a day? Yeah. Well, we use the heat lights, and so those are on 24 hours a day for the first 2.5 weeks. Marie says, is there a way that I can delay my order for 2 weeks? Yes. When you order on the website, there's a note section at checkout. You can put in there, please ship, whatever. But if you've ordered and then something came up, then you'll just want to text me with your order number and say, can you delay this for 2 weeks? And I can write it on the ship list then. So that's not a big deal either. So either way, but if you haven't ordered yet, you can do it on the website in the note section at checkout. But if you have already ordered, then you'll need to text me, which my phone number is on the website at the bottom. High Country Art is getting in to Quail in T-1 month from Alberta, Canada. Welcome and good luck. We wish you all the best. Just recently got 6-week-old quail. When I'm in the room, sometimes one will run around the cage in circles for 20 seconds-ish. Then will start making a noise and starts pecking other birds. Yeah, so that one's like kind of on high alert, if you will. So it's not feeling safe is pretty much the basic answer to that. So just try to be calm for a little bit. I think you said you just recently got them. I wouldn't worry about it for another 1.5 to 2 weeks. That usually gives them enough time to adjust, and that one is just on high alert and freaking out. The downside with that is if it doesn't calm down, it's going to jump and hit its head, and it's going to die because it's very spastic. But most likely it's more of that quail is trying to tell the rest of the quail that it's not safe, and the rest of them are like, no, it's fine. It's not a big deal. So that one, in time, it should fix itself. I wouldn't do anything different. Just try not to make any abrupt movements around there. Is there any way? Oh, I just answered that one. Again, everybody that's here, thank you very much for showing up. I'm only reading the questions tonight. I do feel a little guilty because you all are commenting, but it's supposed to be rapid fire. Right, I've got in the mindset, rapid fire. Hit the like button, support the channel, I greatly appreciate it. I've gotten my eggs and I'm on day 18 and haven't seen any hatch. Is that normal? It sounds like you have a temperature issue. Let's go ahead and increase your temperature by 1 degree. And let's do the same thing that we did for Crystal. You should have had some starting to hatch. Ideally, the perfect scenario is they start pipping on day 16, massive hatch on day 17, a big hatch on 18, a few stragglers on day 19, and maybe 1 or 2 on day 20, and then you call it quits. So you're about 2 days behind because I'm not seeing any pipping as well, which if they hatch late, it is a temperature issue. If they hatch late, it means the temperature is too low. If they hatch early, that means the temperature is too high. So let's increase your temperature by 1 full degree and give it 72 hours and keep me in the loop, but that should fix your issue. Josh's pearls from Whiskey Tango Farms going to lockdown on Thursday, so you'll be hatching out this week. Good luck. Let's see. Jasmine says, question, can we chat about oversized homemade hatchers and their frustrations? LOL. Humidity reads right, 65 to 75%. Temps are great. Verified my additional thermometer hygrometers, possibly too much airflow. I would assume that's exactly what it is. Homemade incubators are great for incubating. They're very difficult as hatchers, especially if you're using the same one. which is why ours is not a hatcher. It's only an incubator. Jasmine, what I would really recommend, I'd love for you to do a test on incubating in the homemade incubator and then hatching out on the store-bought incubators you had prior. I think that that's going to give you a lot more results. And once you do that, you can give me that information and we can kind of break it down and try to find out what we can do in your homemade incubator to fix it. Because fertility is one thing, but developing and ready to hatch is a different. So we would need to see from a different hatcher first, and then we could break that down. But yes, that it is very difficult because it's so large that there is a lot of airflow issues. Happy Hillbilly says, not a question, but we talked a few weeks ago about our runt bird. He's caught up with all the rest and only 6 weeks old. There you go. Awesome. Congratulations. Pine Hills Farm says, Zach, I know your pain. We had our first coonies born Saturday in the bitter winds, 7 healthy babies. That's great. Congratulations. You did better than we did, that's for sure. But yeah, we're not going to do that again. We're going to monitor when breeding is for them. Let's see. A few generations, my young quail aren't growing as fast. Let's see. I've been watching for a few generations. My young quail aren't growing as fast in past generations. Yeah. So I would assume you're hatching out maybe quite a bit, and you've been doing it for a couple years now. So if that's the case, then it could possibly be a feed issue, but if you haven't changed feed and they have kind of slowed down, you would want to introduce some new blood. It wouldn't take a lot. I mean, you could get a couple new males or a small amount of eggs and just add those to the flock, and that will add new blood and new genes to everything, and then you're good to go for a while. But if you haven't changed feed, then most likely you just need to add a little bit more new blood to it. Stephen Meyer says, if the incubator temp is above or below 99.5, says 99.2 to 99.8, will that hurt the hatch? Nope, that's in the safe range. You're completely okay. I have 3 thermometers and all 3 are a little different. They read both temp and humidity different. Sure. Yeah, I mean, that's not a big deal. So just so anybody else has that question, 99 to 100 is the safe range. So it doesn't matter. It's all going to be the same. It's not a big deal at all. Once you get to about 98.5, that starts to become a problem. Once you get over 100.5, then that starts becoming a problem. But in that 99 to 100 range, no issues at all. La Rochelle Farm said, who has the best prices on GQF? Also, if I read it correctly, the GQF for double stack quail, I need a total of 12 trays, correct? Let's see, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Yeah, you need 12, and then we actually use the bottom black one for a hatcher or a incubator as well. We just don't turn those. Not as great of a hatch rate as the others, but I mean, it'll work if you're trying to hatch out a lot. It would work for you. So yeah, you would need 12. And they were all really similar. I wanted mine faster and wanted to get going. I mean, it was like within a $20 range everywhere I looked online. And so I just went to Amazon and ordered one on there, and that was faster shipping. And I was able, I think, the other reason why I did it is because the GQF, I don't remember where I got it on Amazon, but I got it on Amazon and they had a bundle. So they had the GQF extra humidity pads and the foam pads. And what else? It might have been the trays as a bundle. And so I ended up paying more, but I got all of it and it was cheaper than buying separately. So that's how we did it. Nikki James says, suddenly I'm having humidity issues. Should it be better to dry hatch at 28 than fighting with 60%, assuming environmental cause it is 2 separate incubators? Yeah, that's a great question. And now that the temperature is changing and it's fluctuating as well, I think a lot of people might have better success at dry hatching during the incubation. Humidity is not as, this is how I want to word it. Low humidity during incubation is not that important. It's nice to be in the right range, but not that important. But too high humidity at the incubation period is really bad. So yes, go with the 28% dry hatch and then increase it at lockdown, and that's going to give you better results and less struggle and issues. Great question, and yeah, good job thinking about it. Jasmine says his hip displacement on 2 to 3 day chicks, not a noticeable environmental issue. Great grip from flooring, eating the same as all the other chicks. Seems like isolated issue, possibly deformed an egg. Displacement on 2 to 3 day chicks. Yeah, I mean that's a possibility. It could be a turning issue. Um, if you've got quite a bit in there, well, you didn't give me the numbers. Is there a lot of them like that, or just one or two of them like that? Because if it's a strong, if it's a majority of them, then I would be concerned about the feed. But if you've got one or two, then I don't think it would be the feed, and it could be rotation of the egg, or um, it could be the incubation process. If you had them shipped, if this, that, and the other. It's hard to say, but I'd be able to give you a better idea if I knew how many out of how many. So if you had 1 out of 50, then yeah, I would assume that one didn't turn well, or it was scrambled before it put in, or whatever the case may be, and probably shouldn't have hatched, or whatever the case may be. But if you've got like 30 out of 50 of them, then no, we need to look into that right away. Winston says, greetings from Suriname, country north of Brazil. Sometimes my hens make a sound like a siren. Does it have a meaning you know of? Nope, sometimes they just like to, they all make different noises, so nothing in particular. Let's see. The Blazing Bee says, Crystal from Lafayette, Louisiana. You said quail lay better indoors. Why is that? I will have covered wire cages, also putting in enclosed area for them to hide and feel safe. It's mainly for that reason. They get very spooked very easily, so they adapt to the temperature, but really strong wind or heavy snow or a lot of rain, they'll kind of like, hey, this is not normal. And when you change the normal environment to them, they don't really like to lay as much. So I don't want to say that. I think I remember saying that it's not that they lay better indoors. I think that they lay more consistently indoors because you can control it more. You can control the environment more. So, a massive storm might get them freaked out for a day or two and they won't lay, or whatever the case may be. Watkins Wildlife's in the house. Hey, Zach and Verna from Luke, our chicks are hatching. Thank you very much. Awesome. You were the winner of the 18 and under contest, so good luck, and obviously keep me posted. We wish you all the best. Dan says, we had an almost solid silver out of the jumbo mix. Is it a male? What females would work with it? Only 6 weeks old and first egg yesterday. You got a silver out of a jumbo mix. I don't know how that would happen, but okay, interesting. What females would work with it? Only 6 weeks old and first egg yesterday. Well, that's good. That's really good. Congratulations on that. If you want more of the silvers, almost a solid silver, which means it's probably Tibetan base, I would put it with a wild, and you're going to start getting silver pharaohs. Yeah, you'll start getting silver pharaohs, and those are really cool, plus they're feather sexable. So that's what I would put it with. Jenna's right, you need more quail. Can you make some cages on casters that can go in the middle of the barn? We're thinking about it. I think instead of building more cages, I think what we're going to do is, right now we've got cages hanging from the ceiling, and there's 3 tiers. Now, when we decided to increase last year, we built a 4-tier that's not on the it's on the floor. It's not attached to the ceiling. So I think what we're going to do is actually make one extra row for each cage, raise that up because they're on bars, so we can just raise the cages up off the floor more, and put a fourth layer on there, is kind of the idea. The middle of the barn is where we put all the feed. And I usually have, like, when we get the feed, we've got 5, 6, 7. We usually have 8 pallets delivered, and that's right in the center of the barn. I prefer it there because we use it, every day. We could move that, I could get one of like those shipping containers and put it next to the barn, and put the feed in there. But that's a lot of moving, and that's a lot of, we got to use the Bobcat, and then we got to put it on the pallet jack, and then, so I don't think I want to use the middle of the barn for it. I think it's just easier to use when it's right where it's at. Plus, it's easier for me to manage so I don't run out, because that would be a bummer. So I think we're just going to add from 3 tiers to 4 tiers. But another idea is we were going to contact Wynola Ranch and get a bunch of stackable cages and put them right in the center, with the casters on it. But I, I want the feed in the barn. So that's the only other way that we came up with. But yeah, I agree. We need more quail. And Jenna agrees well. Follow up, the chick is a CE. Out the shell, walk like a bow-legged sailor, hobbling with hip legs spread but not splayed, like slippery surface splay leg, growing and eating but maybe call. One more question, Jasmine. What color is it? Interesting. My eggs from you go into lockdown Wednesday. A lot of hatching this week. That's awesome. Congratulations, everybody. Finished my cage. I left a 1.5-inch gap between the floor and the front wall of the cage for the egg rollouts. Is that fine for your jumbo quail when they get to laying? Yeah, that would be fine. That's a little high, but that's good. That's all right. For jumbos, that's not a big deal. Also, if someone ever says that Zach doesn't go above and beyond to help people, they are full of quail crap. Thank you. Appreciate that. You've had some very interesting questions lately, and I've been there, so it's easy for me to answer, and I'm happy to. Hello, this question is for everyone that may have an answer. How do I raise humidity in my homemade incubator? I have a container with water and sponges on top and bottom. I can't get to 75%. My first initial thought would be to add more fans and get that humidity pumping everywhere. Preferably fans going down because humidity rises. So you want the fans not on the sides but on the top, and they're blowing down. And then the bottom fans are going like this from side to side. And that should, circulate like that. You could have them on the bottom and it could just rotate like that. You could do that too. And that is an issue with the homemade incubators as far as getting humidity up. Usually you can stabilize the temperature, and usually you can get a lot of them to be fertile. But yeah, you have to be very, very careful with homemade incubators and using them as hatchers. I really don't recommend it. Homemade incubators for incubation is great. I recommend it. It's awesome. But as hatchers, it's very difficult, which is why I love the GQF, because it holds a lot of eggs, but it's so compact that it stabilizes so easily. Whereas the homemade incubators, it's a challenge. So check out the fans. I would look at a humidikit. You can find those on Amazon. In fact, they're in our Amazon store as well. We use those, and it's an automatic water. So you fill it up from the outside, and then it's constantly putting humidity in there. And in our homemade lockdown, we have 2 of them, one on each side that's in there. And that seemed to help a lot. But I don't really use the homemade lockdown anymore. I only use the GQF lockdown. The homemade lockdown that we have now is mainly for keeping my balutes ready for when I'm ready to go. Because it'll still be okay to put those in there, but those are more of a holding, and GQF lockdown so much better for us because again, it's just there's a lot of space you got to cover. Question: when we purchased eggs all the same size, color, can we assume that the quail will all be related? Are they good to breed to each other? No, they would not be related. Maybe, possibly, could be the same dad, but definitely not the same mom for sure. We make very sure of that, which means there's no issues with inbreeding at all. You're completely good to go. Mark Brown says, hey, I told my son no 11 years old to buy some eggs from you, Jumbo Browns, but we forgot when we would order some or when they restock. I'm hoping to have the Jumbo Wilds back on the website in 3 to 4 weeks. So I apologize about that. Once they are on, we won't be taking them off, but there's some things that I want to do before I put them back on. So I apologize about that. But 3 to 4 weeks, we'll have all the Jumbos back on. For best sanitary practices, how often should I change the poop trays of my Wyanola cages? I put wood shavings on the trays. I'm gonna be honest. We still have one. Okay, so the Wyanola cages that we use for our research, we clean out once a week. Now at that week mark, they're fairly full. I guess it depends on how many's in there. I mean, if we're just starting, then it's hardly anything. There's 3 birds in there and we go 2 or 3 weeks without doing it. But when we've been doing it for a little bit, then we change it out once a week and it's fairly full. A week is great if you can get by with it, but maybe 5 days. When we were in the old barn and we used to do the trays, like all of the cages had trays, we had to do it once every 5 days. If you could do it once a week and just schedule a day a week that you do it every week, that would be ideal. And I think you could. What is your strategy for keeping your breeding birds diversified? Where do you get your new blood? I don't get new blood. We've got a specific breeding program that we'll be talking about later on this year, especially at QuailCon, about how we breed here. And we diversify, well, we have a lot of quail, which helps us a lot, and we have a lot of colors, which helps us a lot, that we can add and introduce and take away and all that stuff. So with that being said, I care more about healthy quail than I do like breeding true or whatever. So we put things like, what's an example? Give me an example. What have we, okay, all right. So our growl fees, for part of the year will be growl to growl, but then we take the growls out, the growl males out, and we'll put Rosetta males in there, hatch those out, and then those are our new breeders. And then that next time we switch our layers out, then it would be growl with Tibetan males. And then we'll hatch those out, and those will be the new breeders. So there's getting new blood, new males once a year, if not sooner, sometimes twice a year, depending on what it is. So that helps us diversify a lot, but we have a lot of quail and a lot of cages, and we can do that. That's really, really oversimplifying what we do. What we do is actually extremely complicated, but that's mainly what we do. But we will be doing a genetics expert, biologist expert, is going to be doing a video this week. I'll be posting on our YouTube channel about the basics of genetics. And then she's also going to do a breeding with breeding for biology video, and then she's also going to do one more and a live Q&A. But we have worked very closely with some universities that has really helped us come up with a really strong breeding program. Is the answer that I can give. Michael says, hi, Zach. With every hatch, I have 1 to 2 chicks that die within the first 24 to 48 hours. The rest of the chicks are fine and grow up normally. Is that something to worry about, or is this normal? It could be a couple different things. It's a really good question. It's hard for me to pinpoint that. It could be that you're hatching out extremely well and they really shouldn't have hatched, so they won't thrive. But you're over hatching, which is good. That's fine. I mean, that's a good thing. But that's the byproduct of really hatching extremely well, is you're going to have 1 or 2 that just weren't supposed to make it in the first place. With 1 or 2, I mean, most likely that's the right answer. But again, their entire purpose in life is to die. So, I mean, it could be, I mean, I've had quail that just would refuse to get under the heat lamp. Like, it just wouldn't. You just move it and then it'd walk away. And then you move it and it'd walk away. You'd move it and then it'd go in the corner. And then 5 minutes later, it'd be shivering. And you're like, see, I told you. And then you move it. And then it would get warm and then walk away. And it's like, okay, you know what? I can't help you if you won't help yourself. So sometimes chicks are just intolerable. The Blazing Bee says, what's the highest allowed temperature for adult environment? It really doesn't matter. We've got people that are in Texas, California, Puerto Rico, Mexico, all kinds of places, Louisiana, that have very high temperatures. They have them in garages, they have them outside, they have them in insulated barns, uninsulated. The heat or the cold really doesn't bother them at all. I have a garage, but I'm afraid it'll be too hot. Oh, yep, not a problem at all. They will adapt and it won't be a big deal at all. Just make sure they have airflow, because it can get stuffy. Andy says, any reason why 3-week-old birds would start dying but only half of the batch? Divided in 2 groups, losing 2 to 12 a day. Treatment with Cora didn't touch it. Dead birds are thin. Whoa. That's a lot. Losing half your hatch at 3 weeks old. It's not great. That's a lot of deaths. Well, okay, all right. Let's break it down real quick. I'll try to go as quickly as possible. So it could be environmental. If you put them outside at 3 weeks old, it could be that they were just not ready. They weren't fully feathered, or, harsh weather. And so it could be environmental. It could be that they're in the brooder and they're getting overcrowded because they're getting bigger now, and they're overheating. That could be an issue, also environmental, that you can check out. I'm going with somewhere with this, so just hang on in there. It could be possibly a feed issue. If you're grinding your feed, don't. Stop grinding your feed right now. So that could be the issue. All of those you can check, change, and monitor. If it's none of those, I would be a little concerned it's AI. That's a lot of deaths, and AI is spreading tremendously. Hopefully it's an environmental issue and we can fix it. Not a big deal. Check those out. That's a lot of deaths. 2 to 12 a day is a lot at 3 weeks old. Check the 3 environmental things out first, because it could very easily be one of those 3 things. Very easily. Stephen Meyer says, all 3 of my thermometers read different humidity. My Govee reads 43, my Cigar Oasis reads 48, and GQF says 53. Should I use the middle reading? I would, yep. I'd use, I would just rough estimate around 48 to 50. You can fluctuate much more on the humidity than you can the temp. So I would just say, okay, it's gonna, it's 48, 50% in there, is what I would do. Yeah. It does sound like you might possibly have a circulation issue though, so make sure you check that out as well. Watkins Wildlife says, hey, if we mix a 45% protein feed and a 36% feed, do you add those together or have to divide them? Those are really high proteins. That's a little too high. It's really high. 45% and 36%. I don't even, how do you get that? You really want somewhere around a 25 to 30% protein while they're growing. So the first 8 to 10 weeks, which I do believe you got mixes. So for the first 8 weeks, you want a 25 to 30% protein. And then after that, anywhere from 15 to 20% is just fine. And there's definitely issues that can be caused by having too much protein. So that's not a good thing either. So try to get in that range. If you can't get in that range, just use the 36%. You should be all right. But 25 to 30 is ideal. Please tell me you're making quail pie for Pie Day. I am not. No, you don't. No one wants to make, no one wants to see that. Little Ridge Farm says, I'm getting closer to 50 subs. That's awesome. Congratulations. Hey, told my son, forgot we could use order when they restock. I'm resending that. Okay, I got it. I answered that one just in case. It's 3 to 4 weeks, but I did answer it earlier. Again, everybody that's here, welcome. We're very happy you're here. Tonight is supposed to be rapid fire, so it's questions only, but I'm very happy that you're all here. Thanks for showing up. What day do you recommend to go into lockdown? Is it day 14 or 15? Do you start on day 1 or day 2? So real quick, I'm actually going to do a video on this as soon as I get the time, but we put our eggs into the incubator every Friday at 2 p.m. That is day 0 for us. So because it's midday, we don't actually count that day. It's just a bonus day. And we actually put ours into the lockdown 2 Fridays from then at 2 o'clock. So it's 14 days exactly. But it's not that big of a deal. You can easily move them to lockdown on day 14. You could easily move them to lockdown on day 15. It's really not going to affect much at all. Not at all. As far as what day to start with, if you're doing it early in the morning, let's say if it's before 9 a.m., then I would count that as day 1. After that, I would just count it as day 0, and it's just a bonus day, just to help them get started. But I'll do a much better explanation and video on that as soon as I can. Let's see, Pappin says, first 48 chicks, 7 days old today. Congratulations. Best of luck to you. You will have to build another barn. I'm not doing it. I can't. I'm so tired all the time. Do you know of any good incubators? Actually, if you go to our playlist on our YouTube channel, Quail Supply Reviews, there's 2. Yeah, there's only 2, but there is 2. There's 2 or 3. There's 3. I lied. There's 3 reviews on incubators. I would check those out and find out which one would work best for you. But we did a review on the Nurturite 360. We did a review on the Little Giant, and we did a review on the Humidity. And we did a review on the Farm Innovator, but I lost that video. I don't know why. Let's see. Jasmine says something with fee, fab or pearl. If it's eating or drinking, I would actually not call it. If it doesn't seem like it's in pain, I wouldn't call it just yet. I wouldn't use it in the breeding program, but I would let it, I'd let it grow. You could always butcher that one, but I'd let it grow and then kind of do some observations on it. because that is interesting. That's an interesting thing. Zach, I ordered a 6-tier cage for my NOLA Ranch and it came broken and incomplete. Yeah, just message them and they'll be happy to get you taken care of. That's not a problem at all. But yeah, they're good to get back with you and fix any issues. I missed one of the males when separating them. One male with 14 females. Will there be a problem when adding another male to this cage? Not with 14 females, no. No, you'll be all right. If it was like 1 in 5 or maybe 1 in 7, then I don't know. But 1 in 14, no, he's got plenty to do. I'm doing lockdown on the 17th. Hopefully some will hatch after the fiasco I had with the thermometer hydrometer on day 4 through 6. Well, we wish you all the best, and you had issues with that. So if it was a temp issue, most likely they're going to hatch late, so just keep them in there longer and give it a better chance that way. Psycho Word 360 says we've hatched over 50 so far on this batch. That's awesome. Congratulations. A lot of hatching going on right now. That's super cool. Las Vegas just got our tickets. There you go. Awesome. I haven't seen it yet, but I will get to it as soon as I can. And we'll get you on the map. Very cool. Little Ridge Farm says thoughts on hooking 12 by 32 barn to a house that houses quail and rabbits. Yeah, do it. I think that's a great idea. Yes, if you type in QuailCon 2021 by Myshire on the YouTube search page, it'll show up a video. But if you go to our website, there's actually a tab that says QuailCon. It'll tell you all about it, but it's really, really fun. What is the best age to integrate grow outs into an existing covey? I really recommend 8 weeks. I think that's the safe bet with no issues. You could do as early as 6. We've done it and it's been fine, but it also caused some issues sometimes as well. So we just wait till 8 now and not have to worry about it. But 6, they're just starting laying and they're still kind of a little small compared to the older layers. So 8 weeks is ideal. You could go as low as 6, but I really recommend 8. Yeah, John says, if I message Wynola Ranch, they return my call 2 minutes later, like all the time. There you go. Thank you very much. Let's see. Is it possible to remove a breeding group for a time and then reintegrate into the main covey? Yep, absolutely. Actually, there's a video you can type into the search bar, introducing new quail to an existing flock. I've got a video on it. And if you go to our website, there's a blog section. And we have a written out blog about how to introduce new quail to an existing flock. But yeah, you can do that. Go Big says, hello from Louisiana. What causes eggs to completely dry out through the incubation period? We are getting 1 out of maybe 200 or so. Completely dry out. If that's the case, it usually, it usually is because there's some sort of pinprick somewhere on there. It could be humidity, Verna. But one out of 200, I don't think it would be humidity. But having the same one every time, or just having one every time, that'd be weird too. I don't know. The first thing I would check is it in the same place every time? Because if it is, then it's your turner. It's not your turner. It's the tray. That one piece has a sharp plastic piece or whatever, and it's poking it and getting the air in there. It's got to be something like that, something really simple and small that you're not even noticing. Because 1 out of 200, it can't be a major thing. It's got to be something just secluded to that one thing. Randomly finding an egg or 2 with red blood streaks on them. Not huge eggs, maybe 13, 14 grams. I have tried to check hens bums for prolapse. Haven't noticed any hens with issues. Help. That quail is just not getting or is deficient in fiber and or calcium. I've seen it happen a couple times here. We have tried to fix the issue, and then we eventually just said, well, let's just see how it turns out. Once we did that, after about a week, it fixed itself, and we didn't have that issue anymore. So whenever I see one that's like that, after about 5 or 7 days, there is no more like that. So I'd let it run its course. It'll fix itself, to be honest. I know that's kind of a simple answer, but it works. Yeah, I agree, Jasmine. I think it's a hairline crack somewhere. I'm wondering if it's in the same place. Go big. If you're incubating, I would recommend, especially going forward, that you do a dry hatch because Louisiana is very, very humid. Very humid. I would do a dry hatch during incubation. Just candled my Myshire eggs, mixture of jumbos and feathers expo out of 114. 100 are fertile, should be hatching Friday. Awesome. Congratulations and best of luck. Obviously, keep me posted. Will you be doing a butchering video? We will. Absolutely. As soon as I can find the time. But yeah. Again, everybody that's here, welcome. We're glad you're here. I'm only reading the questions tonight, but thank you very much that you're all here. I really appreciate you. Witch Doctor says, do you have any tricks for getting the larger eggs to hatch? Yeah, with larger eggs, just like, any larger egg. Emus take longer, chickens take longer, geese take longer. Everything takes longer. The bigger the egg, the longer it takes to hatch. Typically, double yolkers, it's kind of hard to hatch, but what could help is a higher humidity because you need the whole egg to soften so the chicken can break through. And I've noticed that the larger eggs usually don't start hatching until about day 20. So it takes them a little bit longer. But that would be two things. Increasing your humidity, and if you're hatching the larger eggs with the regular eggs, or this one's just a big egg or whatever, I would probably do normal, and then once you say your hatch is over, just increase your humidity and give it a couple more days, and that should be a good trick for you. Can you check with Papa and see if he would adopt a 50-year-old Irish man from Wisconsin? Sounds like you guys need some help on the farm. I am terrified to ask him that because he probably would. So Michael Perry says, good afternoon, y'all. Zach, how far are you behind on orders, or have you got caught up? No, a while. We're behind on orders. We're saying 6 to 8 weeks on the website. Right now, you're probably looking at about 3.5 weeks, but I wanted to overpromise and underdeliver. And that makes my blood pressure go down a lot than just really trying to be right on the dot, because that's a lot of pressure on me. So we're just saying 6 to 8 weeks, but really it's just like 3.5, which is still a while, and I feel bad, but less pressure than me trying to get right down to the day. What do you think? I don't know of the ACC right temp and humidity meter. I'm not familiar with it, unfortunately. I don't have any experience with it. I'm sorry. Should I go with an aviary or cages? I think that really is up to you. If you're on Facebook, you can join Self-Sufficient Quail or Quail Call. They're both Facebook groups, and the admins, Jasmine and PJ, Family Farm, no, not PJ's Family Farm. No. If you join Self-Sufficient Quail Facebook group, Jasmine does aviaries and cages, so she could give you some advice on the aviary. And Katrina is on Newbie Quail Lovers Facebook group, and she does aviaries as well. actually, she has a YouTube channel that does a couple videos about that, and it is called Sow and Tear. So you can check that out as well. But you could do whichever one works for you. Um, let's see. Happy nope. Just got our tickets and campsite for QuailCon from New Jersey. Awesome, Gretchen. Can't wait to meet you. And New Jersey is another new state as well. Yeah. So it sounds like we got New Nevada and New Jersey. So we're at 29. I need one more to hit 30. And that will exceed last year. I think we had 29 last year. So that's, oh no, we had like 36. So we still got some room to grow. Are the hotels near QuailCon? We are flying in and don't want to have to pack a tent. Yeah, there's a ton. You can look at our website, look at our address on our website. It's actually in the description of QuailCon tickets, but the zip code is 45342. And I would just put, hotels near there. If you want to go, I go real cheap because I don't really care. I just want a bed to sleep in and go. But you'll be staying for a couple days. So I would check out Austin Landing. Austin Landing in Miamisburg, Ohio. There's a ton of really, really nice hotels over there. And it's in a nice little area. They've got Chipotle, and they've got a Kohl's, and they've got BW3s, and they've got a gas station, and they've got a little, outdoor shopping center, and Kroger, and, it's a nice little area. Why can't I think of the important questions once I come to the live stream? I hear what you're saying. I do that a lot too. Marion says, Alabama beekeeper here. Welcome. We're glad you're here. I'm starting with bees, so that's pretty exciting. Gary says, I have 28 jumbo white wing hens with roos hatched from your eggs. I also got 4 jumbo whites. I assume were extra eggs you sent, most likely. Yeah. 20, not bad. Congratulations. Out of how many, may I ask? Jesse Saban says, my Myshire egg started this morning, 5 out of 25 so far, day 17, still some pipping. Awesome. Good luck for you. And at the end of tomorrow, go ahead and increase your temp. Not your temp. Go ahead and increase your humidity after tomorrow. End of the day tomorrow. Increase your humidity about 5 to 7%, and that should help also. But don't do that until the end of the day tomorrow. Don Ray B says, thumbs up reminder. Appreciate Zach for giving his time. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it. We do only need 8 more to hit 100. That would be super cool. Thank you. John says, don't try to hatch very big eggs. They may be double yolks. I agree. It's not a good thing to hatch double yolks. It's very difficult. Very frustrating. I'd love to, but Bing's Utah Homestead Urban, Bing's Urban Homestead says, my quail are pecking each other's eyes. What may cause this? Usually if it's eye pecking, it's usually a hen doing it to males. And it's usually due to overbreeding, and that's the way that the hen are saying, okay, well, if you can't see me, you can't breed me. So back off. So check 3 quail per square foot, and make sure that it's 5 hens to every 1 male, and that should fix the issue for you. Sorry, can I use white roos on the white wings to maintain replacement birds? I need to go back to your original. You can. You can for 1 generation, and then I wouldn't do it after that, because once you do it after that, you're actually going to start creating a tux, and the chest will be white, and they're no longer feather sexable. They're cool looking, but they're no longer feather sexable. So yeah, you can for 1 generation, and then I would try to put wilds or the replacement males with them after that. Josh's Punk Rock Garden says, I have an Accurite, it works, but it only reads the whole degree in increments. I'll go for the Govee at Myshire's Amazon store. It's only like 14 bucks, and it's awesome. Yeah, I would agree. I really like the Govee, and it is fairly cheap, which is what I really like about it. But it's also accurate and very easy to use, and yeah, I really like it a lot. I have a few really large eggs. I'm going to put them in the smaller incubator by themselves at lockdown. Zach, what do you think about this? You can try it. Those really large eggs are pretty hard to hatch out, but the two things that might help is increasing humidity. We're not getting great results by hatching the big eggs, but what seems to work is about 82%, but that's just for the really large eggs. And then again, day 20, 21 is when they start hatching. I'm getting 36-gram eggs from 3 different girls. 36 grams? Those aren't double, those are triple yolkers. Good Lord. Good Lord. Good Lord. Make an omelet with one of those. Question that came up in Newbie Quail Lovers. If hens lay at 6 weeks, why wait to switch the food to a layer feed until then? Well, that's a great question. It's because they're still growing. And you really don't want to, slow or you don't want to hinder that process because they're still growing. They're not mature yet. They're just trying to figure it out. So if you stop too early, you're kind of holding them back, and that could affect future hatches, but it also could affect their egg production. It could affect how big the eggs are. So up until about week 8, you're still controlling what you're going to be getting going forward. Because if you've been raising quail, you know that when they start laying eggs at 5-6 weeks old, they're very different colors, different sizes, some small, some big, some weird, some not, whatever. And then at around 8 to 10 weeks, usually around 10, is when it stabilizes, and that's kind of the same egg you get every day. It's because they're still growing into what they need to grow into. So if you stop that at 6 weeks, you're going to hinder that, and that could affect the entire quail and future generations and things like that. But that's a great question. I did. I say the wrong things all the time. But yes, I meant under promise and over deliver, not over promise and under deliver. That would be a bad way to try to do my business. I'm going to try to under promise and over deliver. Thank you very much. I'm sure someone that hates me is going to use that against me, I'm sure. But yeah, that's what I meant. So thank you. Do you ever stop and relax? See if you can get some help from interns from the university to help you out. No. I mean, maybe down the road, but I am, what word would you want to use? I am kind of, I like to use the word particular and have very high standards of what I want and when I want it. Others might use that, like let's say George might call me anal. My wife calls me a lot of things. Perfectionist, psycho. But I like to use the word particular. I like, so I have a hard time letting things go. I really like to be involved with it all because ultimately it all hangs on me. But eventually I think that we'll have to do, and I think it's a pretty cool idea. I got a letter here, you can't see it, but it's from the FFA, Agricultural Education Community, and they stopped by, this was a couple months ago, I guess this was 6 months ago. But they stopped by with a bunch of kids and we did a tour and it was a lot of fun. And then they contacted and said, hey, we really liked your quail. We were just stopping by to see it because they were kind of in the area and they thought, oh, well, let's stop by here. So they did. Then they contacted us a little while ago and said, hey, we're really interested in the quail. What do you recommend? So we said, oh, it's for the class, right? And they're like, yeah. I said, well, we'll just send you some for free. It's not a big deal. And, now, all the FFA kids, there's, good Lord, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. There's 22 kids that are under 17 that are now raising quail and hatching quail and super excited about it. And they're starting a little business on the side to help pay for other stuff that they want to do in their classroom and things like that. So I think that's super cool. And I think eventually, the reason I said that is eventually I'd love to get, a kid like that that wants to come help during the summer or something, that's local. I wouldn't, local stop by. Or even do like week time frames or something where they can kind of come and help and things like that. I think that would be really cool. But I'm not there yet. Do we have Connecticut? I will make 30. I don't think we do have Connecticut. Let's look. New York, Ohio, Iowa, Wisconsin, Florida, Washington, CT. I'm looking for CT. We don't have Connecticut. We don't. So that might make us 30. 28, 29, 30. That'd be super cool. I don't think we had Connecticut last year either. Hopefully you can make it. I'd love to meet you. What is the wet bulb method? I've never used it, and so I'm not very comfortable explaining it. No, I don't really want to explain it because I don't have personal experience with it, because we've not done that here. I would be more comfortable maybe you asking in a Facebook group, and someone that actually does have experience with it could explain it much better. I would be afraid to give you the wrong information. I'm not comfortable with it. I'm sorry. I do try to help, but I don't want to give you the wrong help either. Tommy's in the house from Tennessee. Welcome. Pablo says, hey, Zach, I hatched the mixed color eggs. Do you recommend to separate them at 3 weeks old before they start mating? As far as the colors go, no, you don't have to do that. If you're going to keep them all together, then that wouldn't be a big deal at all. But as far as like a bachelor pad and you're going to grow out the extra males to butcher, it's better to hatch out or to separate males at 3 weeks old from the hens, and they won't be as aggressive so that you can grow them out longer. But if you're going to keep them all together, then no, it wouldn't be a big deal at all. And especially if you're talking about color to color, you wouldn't need to do that. That's not a big deal. Josh's Punk Rock Garden says, I have 3 roos from my Celadon hatch and only need 1. I have pearls hatching soon. Which roux would make the coolest color cross with my pearls? I have Pharaoh, Egyptian, and Fab Fee. Keep the Egyptian. The Egyptian's going to be really cool. It's going to be really cool. Jasmine says, when hens molt, should the males be separated for them? My poor girls are looking scrappy over here trying to get those new feathers in, and the boys are as needy as ever. That's interesting. Usually when the hens molt, the males back off. So that's kind of interesting. I wonder if you have newer males. Yeah, because those hens get a little testy during that time. Eventually, they're going to turn on those males, and those males are going to get beat up real fast. Yeah, I'd probably take the males out just for a few days. Plus, the molt can be over much quicker. I'm sure it's hindering that. But usually when they molt, the males just go in the corner and be like, just let me know when you're done. So that's kind of interesting. Katrina says, regarding the feeding for 6 weeks, the person has a hen with a prolapse, and someone suggested was a feed issue with too much protein. Thoughts? I don't think so. I don't think it's too much protein. It wouldn't be too much protein. If it was anything, it'd be not enough fiber and calcium. It wouldn't be too much protein. I would let it go, and it should fix itself. If it's a major prolapse, yeah, it probably is. They're needing that extra calcium at 6 weeks old. They still shouldn't need that much. What I would suggest to that person is that they wait another 24 to 48 hours, and if it doesn't get any better, or if they see any other ones that are struggling, then I would add, you could actually do that already. You wouldn't even have to wait. So what I would recommend is keeping them on the starter grower feed so that they can grow, but putting a little side thing of oyster shells which is going to increase their calcium, and that will help them lay the eggs, but still they're getting the protein they need to grow. So that's what I would do. But it wouldn't be a protein, it would be a calcium fiber issue. Thumbs up on the FFA. Yeah, it was a lot of fun, and as soon as we can open back up the farm, we've got a couple other groups that are interested. We can't do it right now. Little Ridge Farm says, my daughter says I'm taking too long for her to have rabbits and quail to raise. She's only 9 and wants to get started and save for college already. That's wonderful to hear. And she might be right. Maybe you just need to get at it, you know? That's good. I'm glad she's getting at it. That's wonderful. Tell her I said good luck. What do you get if you take an Egyptian fee? I don't want to tell you. I don't want to tell you that yet. I don't want to tell you that yet. I will tell you that answer 2 weeks from yesterday. So on my next live Sunday, which I'm canceling this coming up Sunday because I'm busy. I'll be in the barn all night. But that following Sunday, I'll be back, and I will actually show you what it looks like and tell you how to get it, which is that way. Question about the 18 contest. If my daughter didn't win when she entered the contest, does she need to re-enter again or only have one chance? No, she can re-enter. The email is kept and saved, and we pick each month, but it doesn't hurt to re-enter. And yeah, either way, it doesn't really matter. I mean, it'll still be saved, and we'll reread it, and it wouldn't be a bad idea to re-enter. Wouldn't be a bad idea. You can push prolapse back, clean it, and gently push back. That is true, you can. Usually if it's not, how do I word it? If it's not severe, if you notice, but it's not one of those, oh dear, kind of things, then just let it go. It'll fix itself. But if you look at it and go, oh dear God, then yeah, you need to help a little bit. Gently and cleanly, but I would agree with Val. It does help to help. Woman of Spirit says, how old should chicks be before introducing fermented feed? I don't have experience with that. To be safe, I would say at least 4 weeks old. But if somebody has a better answer, then feel free to go. But I wouldn't be comfortable doing it until they're at least 4 weeks old. But that's a good question. I don't have the answer. She's patient but excited like kids get. She fell asleep in my arms listening to Zach. There you go. We'll tell her I said hi when she wakes up. Bethany Gray says, hey Zach, 30 out of 43 of the mixed eggs hatched from a batch of 50 I ordered from you. It was my first ever hatch in the Nurturite 360, and I felt successful with your abundance of advice. 30 out of 43. That's great. Congratulations. I think you did a great job. You ordered 50 though. 30 out of 50. Mix or jumbo mix? Mix. Okay. Yeah, I think you did a great job. Congratulations. Next time you do it, that means 13 that were developed did not hatch. Next time you do it, increase your humidity at lockdown an extra 5%, and I bet we could get the rest of those that went into lockdown to hatch out. But I think you did a great job. Zach, maybe consider a video dedicated to anomalies and problems like prolapse, misshaped eggs, etc. Actually, that is on my to-do list. Issues with quail splay legs. I didn't have one of those. I didn't mention prolapse, but I think that's a good idea. Prolapse. I could mention misshaped eggs. I could put that in there. Misshaped eggs. It's a good idea. It's a good idea. Let's see. Splay leg. Oh, I can do wry neck. Organs out of body. bulgy eyes. I just came up with like 8 more things to add to that list. Thank you. It's a good idea. Interesting point on the age of the males. Half are younger and half are same as molting hens. But yeah, my bullies didn't get the memo about leaving those hens alone while molting. I'm wondering if you can tell if it's just the younger hens that are doing that or if it's the older ones as well. If I had to guess, I bet those older ones are either not doing it or doing it very, very little. And those younger ones don't know what's going on. Would be my guess. But if I'm wrong, please tell me. I'd love to know. If you do give oyster shells, should it be smaller? Do you need to grind it up? No, you don't need to grind it up. We used to give oyster shells, and you just get the crumble or whatever. There's like 2 different sizes. You just get the crumble, and it's good to go. They eat it just fine. I'm really not big on crumbling or grinding anything. I think it's not a good idea. Do quail need grit? If so, do they take regular or chick grit? They don't need it, no. You can give it to them. Either one would be fine, but they don't need it. Oh, that's all the questions. That still was not rapid fire. I get confused that I'm supposed to go fast. I just kind of sit back and I go, oh, right. So I apologize about that. But, well, thank you everybody for showing up. Hopefully we helped you on your journey with Coturnix quail. If you could hit the like button, support the channel, I would greatly appreciate it. If you did miss last night's live, we got 3 really good, like really good videos coming out this week. We've got an intro to genetics by an expert from Duke University. I'm really excited about that. We've got a big surprise. It's only like, I think it's only like 1 minute and 15 seconds long. It might be. Let's see. Nope, no more questions. Let me look real quick because I've already posted it. I just haven't made it public. It's 1 minute and 53 seconds, but it's awesome, absolutely amazing. And then we've also got a quail for profit, and we're going to title that Tough Decisions. And I think it's going to help a lot of people that are having some issues right now with being sold out and things like that. So those 3 videos are going to be awesome this week. I'm really excited about it. We've got some good things planned for next week that are not done yet, but we've got a new way to communicate with the community. So that'll be coming. Maybe I'll try to do that issues with quail video. I don't think that would be a bad idea. I might have to post this week. I don't really have those issues anymore. But I could ask people to send pictures of those issues and use those as tutorials. I could do that. And then I definitely want to do, there's 2 genetic videos that I personally want to do. One is the feed gene and one is the roux gene. I think there's a lot of controversy and miscommunication about that. So I'm going to do those 2 videos, and I'm going to let the expert at Duke University talk about intro to genetics. She's also going to do breeding for biology, and she's pretty much going to give you the basics of what we learned through them a while ago. So I'm really excited about those videos. So make sure you get the word out about the channel. I think it's going to help a ton of people, and I think that all of us are very interested in getting as many people involved as possible. So make sure you get the word out. Make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell for icons. The bell icon for notifications, so that when we post these amazing videos this week, you will not miss them. Check out QuailCon. It sounds as though we've got 30 states coming and representing, which is super exciting, which means we are over 1/3 sold out. So make sure you get the tickets on that. And guys, we'll see you a week from today. But you'll see me sooner because I'll be posting 3 videos this week. So until next time, everybody, as always, stay safe.